Hello, I'm Koach. In this episode, I will introduce everything about GPA because GPA is not just about grades. Pursuing only grades can make learning meaningless, but ignoring the importance of grades often leads to a dead end. In this episode, Koach will help you find a balanced mentality. If you have not yet subscribed to Koach U yet, please subscribe immediately to support us. You can also leave a comment, like, or share with your friends, which will help Koach channel to grow. Thank you. The content of this episode is as follows. What is GPA? Types of GPA. GPA conversion systems in different countries. Importance of GPA and how to improve GPA. How significant is your GPA? GPA is not learning. It's not your aptitudes. GPA more or less equals to opportunities. So therefore, GPA is always equate to your confidence. GPA has become a consensus label, stereotyping student and making academic achievement a recognition of personal ability, which can have unlimited expansion and even effect on employment opportunities. Therefore, student cannot ignore it. What is the purpose of GPA? GPA usually appears on a transcript, that is, the grade point average. It summarizes a student's annual performance into a simple score out of 4. GPA reflects academic achievement rather than learning potential. The difference is that GPA can change, whereas your aptitudes are generally considered unchangeable. So how do you calculate GPA? GPA is calculated by including the grades of each subject. Often, the difficulty level of each subject is taken into account, whereas higher level courses may have a higher weight in the calculations. Subjects with more credits are considered more important and as a result have a higher weight in the GPA calculations. Each school and even different faculties within a school may have their own grading scale. Like for example, the ABCD or percentage when converting to GPA is kind of different. Generally, GPA serves well as a common label where, for example, 3 equals to B and 75%, whereas an 3.3 is a B plus or 80%. There are two most common types of GPA. Cumulative GPA is a GPA calculated from all subject grades, and a weighted GPA is considered the weighting of grades, typically placing greater values on grades in higher levels. Additionally, it is also possible to indicate the GPA of the semester or major subjects, as well as the GPA brought over through transferring schools. So why is there such a need? Because the GPA of specific university is often attached to the relevant values. As you may understand that university has branding issues as well. The GPA system is actually a 4-point system used in America. Other countries have their own independent scoring systems, such as degree classification used in the UK and the 7-point system in Australia. When applying to foreign countries, your grades will be converted, but the most important conversion factor is in fact the differences in academic levels between schools. This sensitive conversion formula is never explicitly stated, but the grades of such school must be compared on the level playing field, which is even more important than GPA itself. For example, top 100 schools globally will never admit students from a school ranked 1,000 or even rarely from school that rank 500, for example, regardless of the conversion rate. We compare provinces from within the same country. In Canada, for example, there are slight differences between BC and Ontario GPA systems. The GPA system used by universities in BC has a maximum score of 4.33, where most other North American universities have a maximum scores of 4. However, they're generally similar in many aspects. For example, A plus would be 90% and above, A minus is 3.7, B is 3, C is 2, and D is 1. Here, let me share with you a joke. Koach taught at UBC for 4 years before returning to Hong Kong as a faculty at one of the universities. At first, I forgot that the GPA system was different. In Hong Kong, the highest letter grade is only A, but Koach have tried several times and given A+ grades to students. The secretaries were shocked. They must have thought I was hallucinating. They must have been thinking that I was crazy to create an A+ to reward my students. In fact, I have not been adjusted to the Hong Kong system and was still using the system of UBC. In the past 2 years, most of the Hong Kong applicants for Stream A were degree holders, so originally the idea was to apply to graduate study. However, many found that the threshold for Canadian graduate studies is higher than in many other countries. It is not the case that Canadian universities have higher thresholds, but that Canadian universities are mostly public institutes, not like many other countries with abundant degree mills, which have very or even no admission thresholds. Let's have a look at the admission threshold of UBC graduate studies. At master's level, the minimum GPA is 3, which is a B, equals to 76 to 79%, and specifically they state that in the 3rd and 4th year, you need 3 plus 3, which is a B+, or 80% or above. Such a threshold is the same across Canada, even for small universities. For PhD admission, it requires all your master's level courses to be at least a B+ and then proven research abilities. This implies they will read your master's thesis to determine if it has enough scholarly quality. Many people may not care too much about their GPA as long as they are admitted to their target universities. But GPA has other effects, such as whether you can take the specialization you desired at upper levels, whether you are qualified for internship or co-op programs, scholarships, and whether you can continue your education and graduate successfully. For some considering graduate studies, GPA determines whether you are qualified for graduate programs such as masters or PhDs. Many people are unaware of that until many years later when they plan to return to school. Let's look at the continuation requirements of undergraduates at UBC. 55% means that you are eligible to continue, whereas if your score is around 50 up to 54.9, you're eligible to continue with academic probation. At under 50%, you failed. You're required to withdraw. Academic probation refers to a restriction on the number of credits that can be taken, forcing students to take fewer courses in the hope to help them to improve their grades. As for graduate schools, higher standards are certainly required. Taking UBC as an example, a master's score of 60 or below is considered a failing grade. That means you can only have A, B, or C. And for a PhD, a score of 68 or below is also considered a failing grade. That means as a PhD student, you're only allowed to get A and Bs in your grades. This explains why many students in graduate programs are unable to graduate or silently dropped out, with an attrition rate usually as high as 50%. Therefore, graduate schools are very cautious in admitting students, as high attrition rate can negatively affect the school's internal evaluations. In other words, if a school's attrition rate is too high, it may be seen as a poor performer and may be subject to internal disciplinary measures such as cutting funds. Of course, diploma mills may have high graduation rates. As long as tuition is paid, congratulations, you will graduate. But academic excellence schools would rather have students dropped out than create graduates who cannot meet the standards. Hence, the main distinction between undergraduate and graduate studies is the graduation rate. Next, we will introduce you how to improve your GPA. Number 1, plan ahead. Planning how to balance the course selection for each semester and make sure that you have a few easier courses so you can handle the workload and stress. Number 2, attend class regularly. Please attend class. This is the most important thing you can do to help your studies. Although it may seem that skipping class is no big deal, you are actually giving up the opportunities to learn, interact, and be inspired. Number 3, during class, make notes and review your notes afterwards. This can help you focus and force yourself to do continuous auditory processing and continuous visual processing, which is important for your brain to process the lecture materials, including also classmates' questions and what you're reading during class. Continuous auditory processing and continuous visual processing are the two most important key to learning. This is one very important message that Koach wants you to get out of this episode. Number 4, participating in class. Because social interactions enable information and knowledge to be input and output during the learning process. In other words, if you do not participate in the class activities, there is no need for information to be processed, input or output. As an inactive spectator of the lesson, the brain can float around other topic or personal activities. Attention is scattered and your soul is detached from your body. This is a complete detachment from the learning process, whereas on the contrary, communication fosters processing of information which turns into learning. So that's why participation in class is really helpful for yourself. Number 5, organize and handle time well. Leave enough time to study and also leave enough time to do other activities so that you can live a satisfying life to avoid burnout. Number 6, setting goals. Long-term goals will motivate you. Without goals, no motivation, no rewards, and no yardstick or benchmarks to measure your progress. In other words, without a goal, you are getting nowhere. Number 7, use resources. Taking advantage of online study guides, video lectures, attending office hours, and even considering forming a study group. Make yourself as resourceful as possible to benefit from whatever tools that can help you. Number 8, take care of your mental state. Stay positive and reward yourself. Get help, take breaks, manage stress, and make connections. Remind yourself that you are the most important person in this world and you are responsible for taking care of yourself. No one else is responsible for you. Number 9, take care of your health. Eat healthy meals, get enough sleep. Take care of yourself and hold on to your basic needs. You are not a superhuman. Number 10, limit distraction. Avoid activities such as social media that can take up your time and focus. Rather, focusing on studying and other activities that can help you improve your GPA. Study is an investment, and while you are a student, you have to learn to be a good investor. Number 11, avoid procrastination. Stay on top and on track. Keep a calendar to manage your time and activities, and most importantly, it allows you to visualize your priorities. Number 12, analyze your grades. Learn from mistakes. Identify areas that need attention. Try different study techniques and constantly acquire new study skills. Your target is to make learning experience more engaging and interactive. Number 13, dream big. Having a goal can promote optimism and a positive outlook on life. With a positive outlook, you can help create a hopeful and optimistic life. Life without hope will only cultivate regrets and negative emotions. It will waste our willpower and deplete the expectation we have for ourselves, which in the long run depletes your motivation for anything desirable. Hence, having a dream will foster a healthy outlook in life. Many seniors and retirees suffer from depression because they have no more dreams. As a young person, you must have dreams for yourself. After watching this episode, it is hoped that you will get the same conclusion. That is, if you want to improve your grades, your future will be better than today. So get better grades. The best is yet to come. This is the motto of this episode. If you have not subscribed to the Koach channel, please subscribe now. You're welcome to give comments, like us, and share with friends, which will help Koach channel to grow. Thank you so much.